Sitting in pieces at the St. Louis Iron Mountain and Southern Railway in Jackson, Missouri, is a locomotive with an interesting history. She hasn't run in a quarter century, and without a new boiler and a pile of cash, never will again. This is the story of number 5, Porter's last 242. In 1946, the H.K. Porter Company of Pittsburgh built a new 242T tank engine for the Central Illinois Public Service Company for use at a power plant in Meredosia, Illinois. Bearing construction number 7995, the locomotive was the last of her type built by Porter and was the only 242T they built after 1940. She served less than 20 years and in the mid-60s was donated to the Mid-Continent Railway Museum in North Freedom, Wisconsin. Number 5 did not stay in Wisconsin very long. She was spotted by Hugh Crane, a professor from Milwaukee who was looking to leave the classroom for a career in railroading. Needing a locomotive for a new tourist train in Marion, Illinois, number 5 was purchased for $5,000. In December of 1972, she was loaded onto a flat car to begin her journey to her new home. She was moved over the Chicago Northwestern to Chicago, and then over the Illinois Central Gulf to southern Illinois. She moved the last miles over the branch line to Marion on her own wheels, arriving as 1972 gave way to 1973. Through the late winter and into spring, work progressed in getting number 5 ready for her return to service. Her first short run was made when the boiler was charged with compressed air, and she moved back and forth on the house track alongside the Marion Depot. Everything went well, and the first steam-up was made soon after. The new Crab Orchard and Egyptian Railroad opened for business on Memorial Day, 1973. With freshly restored number 5 pulling former Illinois Central commuter coaches, the railroad began with a holiday celebration. Making a round trip from downtown Marion to a Y near Craneville, heading up a passenger train was a far cry from shuffling coal hoppers at a power plant. Nonetheless, the 14-mile round trip was well within the operating range of the locomotive. Following the initial runs and some downtime to work on some air brake issues, number 5 spent the rest of 1973 hauling riders back and forth between Marion and Craneville. As fall came on, the CO&E purchased a small tender to go behind number 5. Conversion to a tender engine would take place over the winter, and the last runs of 1973 would find the tender coupled to number 5, which was still a tank engine. Over the winter of 1973-74, work was carried out to convert number 5 to a conventional tender engine. The cab was moved back a couple of feet as the original coal bunker was removed, giving the firemen access to the tender's coal bunker. New boiler insulation was added, covered by a new sheet metal boiler jacket. A coat of glossy black paint completed the job, and number 5 looked like a whole new locomotive. The change wasn't just for appearance's sake, as the tender gave the locomotive much increased fuel and water capacity. No longer would she need to be fueled and watered between every run. As spring approached, number 5 was coupled to a photo train to get new images for the railroad's advertising and timetables. For the next several years, number 5 worked as a tourist locomotive on the seasonal CO&E excursion trains. Disaster struck the CO&E the night of June 14, 1977, when fire burned the former Illinois Central passenger station. The building was gutted, destroying the ticket office and ice cream parlor that had been key components of the CO&E experience. Tourist trains would continue through the fall of 1978, but passenger counts would never recover. On September 23, 1978, number 5 took to the Illinois Central Gulf Main Line on a deadhead move to Cairo. The train was serviced in Carbondale, with a front-end loader filling the tender alongside the remains of the coal towers that once fueled Illinois Central steam locomotives. Illinois Governor James Thompson was running for re-election that fall and rented the CO&E's train for a whistle-stop campaign jaunt. After leaving Carbondale, the train headed south through the southern Illinois hills. next morning, the train departed Cairo with media and dignitaries aboard. Campaign stops were made along the way, including at the little town of Ullen. Number 5 would be the last steam locomotive to run over the main line of Mid-America in southern Illinois. With declining ridership following the depot fire, freight would be the future of the CO&E. The city of Marion facilitated the purchase of 8.5 miles of track from the Illinois Central Gulf, and the railroad became a common carrier in the fall of 1978. That fall, Number 5 hauled both freight and mixed trains. Passenger service would end with the conclusion of the 1978 season. An early success in the CO&E's freight operations was the beginning of local piggyback service. This resulted in the unique sight of a 242 regularly pulling the railroad's distinctive trailers. The success of the CO&E's early freight service led to the retirement of Number 5. In May of 1979, restoration work was completed on a larger locomotive, former Roberval and Saguenay 280 Number 17. Once the 17 was broken in, Number 5 was retired. From the summer of 1979 until 1985, she was parked in the Marion Yard. In April of 1985, Number 5 and 2 of the passenger cars were sold to a new tourist railroad being started in Jackson, Missouri. In May, she left Marion for her new home in the Missouri Boot Heel. The following June, Number 5 was back in service on the St. Louis Iron Mountain and Southern, pulling trains on the former Missouri Pacific branch between Jackson and Delta. Additional work was done on number 5 prior to operations in 1987, and a high-pitched chime whistle replaced her old peanut whistle. By 1991, number 5 was in her prime on the Iron Mountain. In 1997, number 5 was still the regular power for weekend trains on the Iron Mountain, and some changes in her appearance showed. A new smokebox front replaced the original, parts of which had gotten thin with rust over the years. Also, the running board around the air pump had been removed during some repair work. When the work was done, they never bothered to put the running board back on.
Starting to roll on the back end there now, so she come up pretty quick since she was hot yesterday. One-handed fireman. Alright, closing down started again.
Number 5 would run for the last time in 1999. That Memorial Day weekend would find her still plugging along as her time ran out. The locomotive was getting tired, and funds for a comprehensive rebuild were lacking. She would be parked that year and would never run again. Former Pennsylvania Railroad E8A number 5898 would take over from number 5 as the main locomotive on the St. Louis Iron Mountain and Southern. Number 5 remains in Jackson today, disassembled and unlikely to ever run again. It's an unfortunate end for this little locomotive with a unique history. She was, after all, the last of her kind to be built, operated by the last all-steam common carrier, the last steamer to run on the Illinois Central Main Line, and had been the only regularly operating standard gauge steam locomotive in the state of Missouri. Thanks for the memories, little one.